Hello. I hope that you can hear me. Anybody who's there, please leave a comment. Tell me that you're there listening, that I'm not alone in the dark, scared and alone. Welcome to the Speak British English live stream. It takes place every Saturday at this time. If you were here last week, thank you. I'm sorry about the technical problems. Hopefully this week it will be better. I'm using a different computer. I'm using my wife's computer today, which works a lot better. So hopefully we won't have any problems. Okay, so I just want to go over what we did last time, because last time I had all these technical problems. So firstly, let's look at these questions that my subscriber Elena asked me about. Okay, so Elena was asking me about intonation. So what kind of intonation do we use with questions like these? So the first question is, excuse me, where's the fruit? Now, as I explained last time, a lot of people think that whenever you have a question, you have to go up. Like this, where's the fruit? Okay. People do this often when reading. But this is completely wrong. Unless the... if it's clearly a question, which here it is, where is the fruit? Where's the fruit? If it's clearly a question, you don't need to go up at the end. We only go up at the end when it's not actually a question. If I say something like coffee, I'm just saying the word coffee, but I'm going up to indicate that it's a question. I'm saying, would you like some coffee? Okay, coffee. But if I say, would you like some coffee? I don't need to go up because I said, would you like? You see, it's a question. So here, excuse me, where's the fruit? There's no particular reason to go up at the end. Also, if you think about the kind of context in which you might be asking this question, you're probably a customer in a shop. Okay, you go to the supermarket and you ask someone who works there, excuse me, where's the fruit? And there's no reason for you to be shy. You're a customer, they're a member of staff. They are obliged to answer your question. Similarly, the next question she's got here, she says, excuse me, how much are the cakes? Same thing. How much are the cakes? Now, this question is a bit different. Excuse me, do you speak English? That's a bit different. I'm not doing this. Excuse me, do you speak English? I might do that, but it sounds a little bit too direct. If I say, do you speak English? Like that, it's a little bit more... Well, the thing is that I don't know if I'm going to get an answer. I don't know if you can even understand me. I don't know if you're going to answer me. Also, probably if you're actually asking someone this question, they're not a member of staff at a supermarket who's obliged to answer you. In a way, they're doing you a favor by answering this question. And you're probably going to ask them for help as well. If you're asking someone if they speak English, maybe you're a tourist and you're on holiday in, I don't know, you're in Japan, and you say to someone, excuse me, do you speak English? And you're hoping that they speak English so that they can give you directions or something like that. So there's more of a sense of uncertainty. But with these questions, excuse me, where are the cakes? Where's the fruit? This kind of thing, you can be very direct. Where's the fruit? Okay. So, still haven't seen any comments. Please leave a comment if you can hear me. Check my microphone's on. If you can hear me, leave a comment, say something, tell me I'm not alone. And if you've got any questions, then please ask. Okay. So next, Elena was asking me about connected speech. In particular, the sounds ch and j. So something that I've been asked about many times is using a ch sound when connecting things like what you. Okay? So a lot of people will tell you that you're supposed to do something like this. Watch you. Watch you. You are what you eat. You are what you eat. No, this is wrong. Okay? Some native English speakers do that, but that does not mean that you should do that. It sounds bad. It's it's not good pronunciation. Instead of what you, just say what you. Use a glottal stop and then proceed to the y sound. What you. You are what you eat. What you eat, not what you eat. Okay? Similarly, that you. No, not that you. That you. That you. Okay? That you are. You see? That you are, not that you are. Might you. Again, same thing. Not might you. Might you. That sounds terrible. You sound like some sort of Victorian Cockney, I don't know, window cleaner or something. Might you. So, just like this. Might you. Might you. Now, you can pronounce the t sound if you want. You can go might you. Might you. Similarly, you can say what you. Thank that to you. That to you. But that's a little unusual. Most people wouldn't do that. We would just use a glottal stop. Might you. Not might you. It's too clear. It's too much. Might you. It's too much. Okay? Just say might you. That sounds more natural. And then same idea with things like did you. You see, if I say did you, it sounds very sort of rough, sort of like a, I don't know, a London butcher or something. Cab driver. Did you? No. We just say did you. Did you. That sounds much nicer. So I'm putting my tongue into the d position like this. Did. And I'm just holding it for half a second, and then I'm continuing to the next sound. Did you. Okay? Now this one's different because there's no consonant at the end. Here the word do just ends in a vowel, so it's just do you. Okay? Not really an issue. Although it's sometimes we use a schwa for the word do, you see. So often if I say how do you do? How do you do? I don't say do. How do? Well, I say do there, but I don't say how. Hold on. How do you do? Yeah, I'm not really saying how do you do. I'm just saying how do you do. How do, like that. How do you? You see, because it's a weak syllable. How do you do? The stress is on how and do and you. Sorry, how and you and do, but the middle do, the second word, how do, that's just a schwa. It's a weak syllable. You see, how do you do? Okay, let me write that so that you can understand what I mean. So if I'm saying how do you do, which is a polite way of saying of introducing yourself to someone, these words are all stressed. How do you do? Okay? But this word is a weak syllable. It's just like this. How do you do? You see? So I don't use the vowel oo here. I just say duh. I use a schwa. How do you do? Now, when connecting a duh sound, okay, because we're using a schwa as opposed to do, when we connect this duh sound to you, it's sort of like do you. And you might hear some people say it more like do. How'd you do? Like that. How'd you do? How'd you do? Like if you say to someone, today I had a job interview. They might say to you, actually that's did you, isn't it? No. Let me think of another example. How'd you do? How do you think? So if you say something like so someone, let's say you say to someone that you had a job interview today. You say, oh, I had a job interview today. And they say, how did it go? And you might say, how do you think? How do you think? How do you think it went, in other words? Now, you might hear someone say do, like that. How do you think? How do you think? But again, it doesn't sound very refined. This is the pronunciation of, you know, a London, I don't know, cab driver or something. How do you do? Okay, so it's definitely something you will hear native British people doing, but it's not necessarily something that you should do. Okay, I would just say it like this: how do you do? Okay, I notice I still haven't received any comments, so please don't be shy. Please leave a comment. Tell me you're listening. Tell me your name. Tell me where you're from. Ask me any questions. Okay. So that's connected speech. Then Elena was asking about superlatives, longest, latest, etc. And she was asking, is the ist part, as in latest, pronounced with the vowel I, okay, or is it pronounced with a schwa, the sound or are they both correct? Well, the simple answer is that they are both correct. Okay, you can say longest or longest, latest or latest. Now, some people will tell you that really it's I, so it's better to say longest than longest, and it's better to say latest than latest. But I would say that for people who are learning English as a second language, which is all of you, actually I would advise that you use a schwa, say longest, latest, because if you try to use the vowel I, you will there's a chance that you're going to do it wrong, and you're going to end up doing something like latest, longest, or something like that, or putting too much stress on that syllable, longest, latest. But if you use a schwa, in my experience of teaching, you're less likely to make that mistake. Now, Elena, who asked these questions, is very advanced, and she has very good pronunciation. So, Elena, if you're listening, you know, you can play around with it. But generally, I would advise to use a schwa. There are some cases, some words where you have a choice of using a schwa or using I, but in certain situations it's going to be clearer if you use I. Okay, so for example, consider the difference between these two words. Okay, so changes is a form of the verb change. Okay, in England the weather changes often, but changer or changes, this would mean something or someone that changes. Okay, I don't know, my friend is a frequent changer, meaning he changes often. Okay, now to distinguish these two words, I would say you want to use I in this one and in this one. Changes and changers. And here with the schwa, you can even make it perhaps a little bit longer than you would usually do a schwa, like changers as opposed to changes. If you just do it short like that, changes, it sounds like you're probably trying to say this word. But if you make it a bit longer, changers, a little bit stronger, changes, that's clearer. And here, if you say changes with I, changes, then it's absolutely clear that you're not saying this. Okay, I'm sure there are lots of other pairs of words where you have the same issue, but this is just one example that comes to my mind. Okay, still haven't seen any comments. Someone leave a comment, okay? It's important. Anyone who's watching, please leave a comment. There's probably only about 4 of you, so if that. So I did see a comment earlier from someone called, well, I don't know your name, but you go by umch. I don't know what that's supposed to mean. So please tell me your name. Okay. Okay, moving on. So then, Elena asked about, she was asking about the syllables in words like cities. You can still see that, yep. Cities, married, carried, studies, studying. Is there one I sound or two? Okay. And then she gives an example, like married. Is it married or is it married? Okay, so simple answer is it's married, not married. This is wrong. Married. You see? So here she's asking, is it 3 syllables basically? Married. Married. No, it isn't. It's 2 syllables. Married with a long E sound here. Okay? Something like that. Married. Okay? Similarly, carried, not carried or carried. Okay? Studies, not studies or studies or something. Studies. Now this one's different. Studying. This is 3 syllables because it's study and then ing. Okay, so you've got to think about the construction of the word. We've got the verb study, as in to study, and then we've got the suffix ing. Well, study is 2 syllables, and then ing is 1 syllable, so that makes 3. Studying, studying. Okay, and those syllables, the d and the ing, d-ing, they're connected by a y sound. Okay, but that y sound is really just the end of the e vowel, because it's study. So that e vowel, so here she's written it. So we've got this e vowel here, study. Because the vowel e is kind of a diphthong in a way, it's what we might call a semi-diphthong. You have to put your tongue into a y position, study, study. And then when you transition into the next vowel, which is I in this case, it sounds like there's a y, studying, studying. Okay? So, there you go. Studying is definitely like this, that's correct. But married, just 2 syllables. Married, similarly with carried and cities and studies. Okay? So, then, last week I talked about some other questions that were given to me by another subscriber called Lanka. Lanka, if you're watching, thanks again. Please leave a comment if you're there. I don't see any comments. Maybe that's a problem with my computer or something. As I said, I'm on a new computer today, a different computer, my wife's computer. So maybe I haven't set things up correctly, and so I just can't see the comments. Anyway, so let me just get rid of this. Okay, so you can see that a bit better now. So Lanka wanted me to go through some of these questions. So let's look at the first one. Where are you from? So if I'm just asking someone a straightforward question, I just want to know where they come from, I'll just do it like that. Where are you from? Where are you from? Da da dun dun. Okay. Where has the accent. Where are you from? And from is stressed as well. Dun 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 dun. However, I can change the mood of the question by changing the way that I stress it. Changing the intonation. Okay? So, if I put the stress on you, that makes it sound like I'm very curious about this particular person. Maybe because I find them attractive. Okay? Where are you from? Okay, it sounds a bit flirtatious. Okay? On the other hand, I could also do it this way simply because I'm replying to someone who's already asked me the same question. So if someone says to me, where are you from? And I say, I'm from ABC. And then I might respond by saying, where are you from? Okay, so I'm asking them the same question, but I'm putting the stress on you because now we're talking about them as opposed to me. Okay, but if I'm the person instigating the conversation, I just go up to someone in a bar. I go, hey, hello, where are you from? Okay, that implies that I find something particularly curious about them, maybe because I find them attractive. Okay. Now, if I put the stress on are, it will sound like this. Where are you from? Something like that. Where are you from? And this, again, expresses a lot of curiosity, but this time the curiosity is more about where this person comes from as opposed to them. Okay, if I say, where are you from? It's not that I think you come from some strange place. It's that I think you are interesting and I just want to know about you. Okay, but if I say, where are you from? Maybe it's because you're wearing a strange outfit, or you look like you've come from another planet or something. If you're green with tentacles, I'm going to say, where are you from? Okay, you're obviously not from Earth. What are you doing? So exactly the same situation here. So basic question, what are you doing? I just want to know what you're doing. Simple as that. If I put the stress on you, again, this is what I would do if I was replying to someone who's asked me the same question. So someone says to me, what are you doing? And I say, I'm drinking a cup of tea. What are you doing? So I put the stress on you because I'm now, it's you as opposed to me. You are now the subject, not me. What are you doing? Okay, and again, what are you doing? Here, I'm expressing a lot of curiosity, but probably because the person I'm addressing is doing something that looks very strange. So I see someone doing something odd and I can't work out what it is they're doing. It looks like they're doing something very strange. I say, what are you doing? Like that. Okay. Someone leave a comment. Okay, still haven't seen any comments. I hope that is not... Hold on, let me change this. Nope, still don't see any comments. Well, anyway, maybe it's my fault. So where are we? Okay, no, never mind. Just going to sign into my thingy. Bear with me a second. Okay, never mind. Okay, so where are we? So as I was saying, what are you doing? Yes, that would express a lot of curiosity. And then next one, I really appreciate that. Yeah, there's nothing particularly interesting about this. I really appreciate that. And it's as simple as that. There's no particular reason why you would say it differently. I really appreciate that. I really appreciate that. I really appreciate that. No. Thank you very much. So here, again, pretty straightforward. You just want to say thank you to someone, so you say thank you very much, like that. And again, if someone thanks you, but then you want to thank them, you could say thank you very much. Okay, so you finish a transaction with someone and they say to you, thank you very much. And you reply by saying, thank you very much. Okay. Similarly, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Okay, so someone apologizes to you, they say, I'm sorry. You respond by saying, I'm sorry. Okay, you could do that if you want. Here, do you mind if I open the window? Do you mind if I open the window? So here, it's a bit like when I was asking, do you speak English? Do you speak English? There's a sense of uncertainty in my voice. Do you speak English? Do you mind if I open the window? Because I'm sort of asking them to do me a favor. I'm asking them to do me the courtesy of allowing me to open the window. Okay, so I'm being a little bit, well, I'm just expressing that I'm not being overly confident. Okay, because otherwise I just wouldn't bother asking. I would just go and open the window. If it's my house, I'm just going to open the window. If I want to open the window, I'll open the window. But But if let's say you're driving, you're a passenger in someone else's car, they're driving you, but you want to open the window, you might say, do you mind if I open the window? Okay, but if it's your car and you're driving and you want to open the window, you probably just open it. Okay. So, next, how do you say it in English? Well, firstly, this is not particularly good English itself. How do you say it in English? Well, I suppose it depends on the context. I suppose you must be talking to someone who speaks your first language. So you're Russian, you're speaking to another Russian, and you want to ask them, how do you say it in English? Well, okay. But usually, if you're asking someone a question like this, instead of how do you say it in English, I would say this. How do you say this in English? Or how do you say that in English? How do you say that in English? How do you say this in English? As opposed to how do you say it? Okay? But it depends on the context. That sounds great. Yeah, I mean, I would just do it like that. That sounds great. You see, I'm putting the stress on great. There's a sense of happiness in my voice. This is the kind of thing that people say sarcastically as well. Oh, that sounds great. Like that. That sounds great. That's how I would do it if I wanted to be sarcastic. That sounds great. Okay? But if I'm not being sarcastic, I might just say, that sounds great. You see? Next. Okay. See if my chat's working now. Okay, I see chat. Brilliant. Okay. I think maybe I had a problem with my chat before, because now I see lots of comments. So I see, is it Irene? Is that the name you go by? Warachaya. So thank you very much. I'll see you later. I've got a comment here from Tiago Souza. I'm from Brazil. I heard you on a YouTube video about the th sound. They've said that in some places in the UK they don't use it. Is that so? I'm not sure what you mean. Maybe you mean in Yorkshire, they might, instead of the, they might say te, like that. Or t, or something like that. Going to shop. Going to shop. I'll say something like that. But I don't know if that's really saying the. They're saying to shop. That's more like saying going to shop, as opposed to the shop. But I don't know. I've never lived in Yorkshire, right? So I'm no expert on that. Some English people will use more of a th sound instead of a th sound. So instead of saying, I don't know, instead of saying the word like, I don't know, theory, they'll say theory, like that. The theory of evolution. The theory of evolution. But this is very bad pronunciation, okay? You should not do that. Just say theory. Okay, so definitely use a th sound. But as for the... yeah, you said I heard on a YouTube video, but... so please give me a link. Give me a link to the to this YouTube video you saw. Okay, that would be good, because in my next stream I can talk about that. Okay, so that's an idea. Anyone who's watching this, share with me. Give me a link to any other English-related, particularly pronunciation-related stuff that you've seen on YouTube or anywhere else, and I'll take a look at it and I'll give you my my opinion of it. Okay. I think there's a lot of rubbish out there. I mean, a lot of nonsense, which isn't true. Hello, can I ask a question? Okay, that's someone called Spore Drive. I take it that's not your real name. About rules in voicing final... yes, you can ask me a question. Right. So Tiago says, I'm asking because when I listen to someone using the f sound instead of the th sound, I understand it normally. Well, yes. Very often people, as I said, will use a f sound instead of a th sound, and they are very similar. They're almost the same sound, really. It's just that when we do a th sound, we stick our tongue out. So they're very similar. But yes, you're absolutely right, Tiago. A lot of British people do that, but you should not do that. Okay, this is bad pronunciation. Bad pronunciation. Okay. Now, someone was asking about rules in voicing final S sound. Okay. I know what you mean. So, hold on. So, rules. Well, if the... Let me see. It's the same with the D sound. I'm not sure what you mean with the D sound, Tiago. So if you could elaborate on that, tell me what you mean, then that would be helpful. Just give me a second. I'm trying to sort out my desktop. Okay. So, rules with the final S sound. I know what you're talking about. I know exactly what you mean. So let me think about this for a second. Okay. By the way, if you go to my website, SpeakBritishEnglish.academy, and you follow the link in the description of my website, I have courses all about this stuff. Okay. So sign up, and you can do the courses. The Consonants of British English is the one in which I talk about this in particular. But I'll talk about it now. What's the time? Okay. So there are a few things to consider when it comes to the s sound at the end of a word. So let's look at this word. Okay, this word is I. So it's pronounced simply with the diphthong I. Now, if we pluralize this word, it becomes eyes. Now look at this word. Okay, this word is pronounced ice. Now notice the difference in pronunciation. So eyes has a long vowel sound, eyes, while ice has a short vowel sound. And that's because diphthongs, including the diphthong I, are pronounced long or short depending on the sound that follows them. Okay, so again, if we look at the word I, or indeed the word I, then it's long, you see, because when this diphthong has no consonant at all after it, it's just on its own, I, is pronounced long. Here, it's followed by a voiced consonant, so it's z. Okay, we've got a z sound at the end. Sorry. Eyes. Okay, so that's long. In ice, we've got an unvoiced consonant, ice, like that. Now, if you think about it, with the word eyes, if you think about the rule I just told you, that this diphthong is going to be pronounced long if it's not followed by any consonant, but it's going to be pronounced short if it's followed by an unvoiced consonant. Well, that means that if I was to use an unvoiced consonant here, that would change the pronunciation of the root word, which is I. You see? So, with the word I, if I want to pluralize it, I want to keep the root the same. The root is I. So to keep it the same, I have to use a voiced consonant at the end, because otherwise it would become ice. You see? Now, I realize that there are lots of exceptions here, because English is very inconsistent. But this is certainly the case with a lot of words. Okay? I would say that in general, you should not make too much effort to voice consonants. So if we take the word eyes again, as long as you make the vowel nice and long, you go eyes, like that. I don't need to do this, eyes. It's completely unnecessary. Okay? It is a voiced consonant. It must be because the vowel is pronounced long. It's eyes. It's not ice. But that doesn't mean I need to go eyes. And if you are learning English, if you're speaking English as a second language, which you are, of course, then in my experience, having taught hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people, my experience is that if you focus too much on voicing the consonant at the end, you're going to do it wrong. You're going to go something like this, eyes, or eyes, or eyes, and that just sounds completely wrong. A native English speaker would do it like this, eyes. You see? Eyes. So, yeah, it's a bit complicated. I could give you more examples, but what I suggest you do is go to my website, follow the link, Speak British English, www.speakbritishenglish.academy, and you become a full member, and you'll be able to do all my courses, okay? And you'll be giving me some money, which is important because I need to buy a new computer, because at the moment I'm using my wife's computer. Okay, so Tiago asked, yeah, the same with the d sound, changing the th sound for d sound in the start of a word, for example. Yes, okay. Well, no, a British person wouldn't do that. A native English speaker wouldn't do that. Maybe if there are a few words that some native English speakers would do that on, but only if they're trying to sound like they're West Indian or something like that, like the word that. Okay, so in text speak, teenagers, they will often, instead of writing that, they will write dat. Okay, I think this might be what you're talking about, Tiago. Is that your name, Tiago? Yes. So in texting, teenagers will say dat instead of that because they want to sound like they're, I don't know, some sort of West Indian rapper or something, and they say dat instead of that. They think it's cool or something. Plus, it's fewer letters. So it's 3 letters instead of 4. Okay, and when you're texting, that's easier. But this is really juvenile. This is just silly, childish nonsense. So most people wouldn't do that. They certainly wouldn't do it when they're speaking. They wouldn't say dat as opposed to that, unless they're, they have a strange accent. If maybe their parents are West Indian, they grew up in a very multicultural environment, which is true for a lot of kids growing up in London. They might do that, but that's definitely not a normal British thing. No, definitely not. But excellent question. Thank you very much for your questions, Tiago. They're very, very good questions. Okay, so Carlos, hey there. Hey there to you too. Elovic, for a long time I did pronounce the th in words such as theatre as t, yes. And a d in these, exactly, these. And theatre. Yeah, I guess that's a Filipino thing. These. Yeah, these. Yeah, it's not right to say these. It has to be these and theatre, okay? The trick is stick out your tongue, okay? Bite your tongue like this, okay? Theatre, these, okay? Don't be afraid to stick out your tongue. Yeah, okay, so very good. Yeah, thanks very much for your questions. Sorry, I didn't see them at first because my chat wasn't set up properly because I'm using my wife's computer. So please, if you've got any more questions, please go on. If you want to follow up on something I've just been talking about, Spore Drive, if my answer was helpful, then please say so. But if you're still not sure what I mean, then ask me another question. Anyway, let's go on. So, Yes, so getting back to these questions that I was being asked about before, that I was talking about last week. You still see that? Yeah. Okay, where was I? Could you repeat that, please? I don't understand. Yeah, so we were talking about this. That sounds great. Yeah, so if you're being sincere, just do it like that. That sounds great, okay? Because you think it sounds great. Okay, you're full of energy. But if you're being sarcastic, you might go, that sounds great, like that. That sounds great. That sounds great. That sounds great. So I'm just dropping the whole thing down to a lower register. That sounds great, like that. Probably doing a face at the same time. Next one, I don't understand. Yeah, there's no special intonation here. Just I don't understand. Next, could you repeat that, please? It depends on the context. So, if you're really asking someone, maybe you're asking the teacher. Your teacher says something, and you say, "Could you repeat that, please?" And you're trying to be very polite. Could you repeat that, please? You want to express that sense of humility in your voice. But if you're the teacher and you're asking the student to say something, or let's say you're the teacher in a classroom and one of the boys in your class, you hear him mumble something under his breath, probably something about you, and you say, could you repeat that, please? Then you could be a lot more severe in your voice. Could you repeat that, please? Just go down at the end. You see? Again, although it's a question, that doesn't mean you need to go up. It's clearly a question. Could you repeat that, please? Okay. What do you mean? Okay, so here, this is very much like before we were talking about what are you doing, and here, same sort of thing. So basic question, what do you mean? Someone says, let's see, they say, I don't like Saturdays. Someone says to you, I don't like Saturdays. And you say, what do you mean? Simple question, what do you mean? Okay. What do you mean? Now, if you are really curious because they've said something really strange, you might do it like this. You might say, what do you mean? Like that. What do you mean? So, for example, someone says something really strange to you. Let me think of an example. I can't think of an example, but something really unusual, really strange. Someone says, someone says, I've gone blind. You're talking to someone and they say, I've gone blind. And you say, what do you mean? Because they've said something very strange. Do they mean that they've actually gone blind? Or do they mean something else? Okay, what are they talking about? Okay, maybe not a very good example, but it's not really important. The important thing is that you understand that if I say, what do you mean? That's because I'm responding to someone who's said something very strange. Okay, moving on. What have you been up to? Okay, so yes, this is a question we often use just to mean something like, how are you? How's it going? Okay, you might say that to your friend. You say, hey, what have you been up to? You know, how are you? What's going on? But actually, really, asking someone what they've been up to usually suggests that they have been doing something a bit wrong. So, for example, you might say this to a child. You find your kid doing something strange, and you say, what are you up to? Like that. What are you up to? Okay, so this is used to imply that someone is doing something maybe a bit naughty. What are you up to? You know, you find your kid standing on a chair in the kitchen trying to get in the cupboard. You know, they're probably trying to find chocolate or something like that. And you say, what are you up to? Like that. But this particular question, what have you been up to? What have you been up to? It's often used in everyday casual English, it's particularly by young people, to just mean, what have you, how have you been? Okay. So, how are you? Generally, we just do it like that. How are you? How are you? But if you're seeing someone who you haven't seen for a long time, and you're really genuinely excited to see them, you might go, how are you? Like that. So put all that stress on are. How are you? Okay? So you would only use that when you're maybe bumping into a friend in the street who you haven't seen in ages. Or you get a telephone call from your long-lost cousin who you haven't seen in years. How are you? Like that. But if you're just being, polite, you're going into work and you see the same people you see every day at the office, you say, hi, how are you? Something like that. Okay? Here's a nice expression, can't complain. This is a very typical English expression. It's just, sorry, you probably couldn't see me before. But hold on, I'll just get rid of this. So I was talking about how are you? And I was talking before about what have you been up to, okay? And now, can't complain. So yes, this is a nice, dry, somewhat ironic way of answering the question, how are you? Someone says, how are you? And you say, can't complain, like that. And it's a kind of humorous way of saying that you're fine, okay? You can't complain. It's a very British, sort of dry, understated thing to say. Okay, I can't complain. Life's okay. I can't complain about anything. Got nothing to complain about. Okay? Can't complain. That's how I would do it. Okay? You're always welcome. You're always welcome. Yeah, you're welcome. I'll just go down like that. You're welcome. Okay? You're always welcome. You're welcome. Can you help me with... Yeah, again, just like with, as I was saying before, if you're asking, I don't know, let's say you're trying to buy some fruit at the supermarket and you need to have your fruit weighed, okay? So you want someone to help you to weigh it and give you a price tag, okay, at the supermarket. And so you might say, excuse me, can you help me with this? Okay, I would be direct. That's how I am. I would be direct. Excuse me, can you help me with this, please? But if it's someone if you're walking down the street and I don't know, let's say you're pushing a pram with a baby and you need to go up some stairs, and you just stop a person and say, "Excuse me, can you help me with this, please?" Then your tone of voice is going to be different because you're asking a stranger to help you, and this person has no reason to help you. Okay? So, yeah, it's really just about the context. I don't know. Okay, so someone says, what's the capital of Venezuela? And you say, I don't know. Okay, simple answer. I don't know. But you might want to do it like this. I don't know. Okay, sometimes you'll hear people do it like that. I don't know, which is to express that you think that it is silly for someone to ask you. Okay, if someone says to you, if someone asks you, could you explain quantum? What are the implications of Einstein's general theory of relativity? If someone says that to you, you might say, "I don't know," like that. I don't know, because why? Or how? I don't know. It's a foolish question. Okay, so it's used to express annoyance. Okay, someone's asking you and expecting you to know the answer, but of course you don't know. I don't know. And then see you later. Yeah, so we just say goodbye like with this expression, don't we? See you later. See you later. Like that. Sometimes you're waving and they're in the distance, they're walking away. You go, see you later. Like that. Again, if you're replying to someone who says see you later, you might say see you later. Like that. Okay, so I'm putting the stress on you. And then here, could I have the bill, please? Again, personally, I would just do it like that. Could I have the bill, please? Just be direct, okay? But some people would be a bit more... let's see, what's the word? A bit more, a bit less confident. They might say, could I have the bill, please? But I'm not like that, okay? I'm quite direct, okay? Good. Okay, so I think that covers it. So I did go over that last week, but okay, let's look at these questions. So, for such a long noun phrase like the most fundamental principle of modern computing, that sounds familiar. Could you please advise which words should be stressed? Good question. The most fundamental principle of modern computing. The most fundamental principle of modern computing. Well, I would say the word the is not stressed, but every other, and of is not stressed. These are weak words. The most fundamental principle of modern computing. I would probably put the accent on the word fundamental. The most fundamental, so fundamental is going to have the high point. The most fundamental principle of modern computing. And then other stressed syllables would be principle of modern computing, like that. The most fundamental principle of modern computing. But the whole thing has a descending intonation, doesn't it? The most fundamental principle of modern computing goes down like that. Okay, that gives it a sense of unity. The most modern like that. So I hope that's helpful. Tiago goes, I wish there was a way to filter YouTube videos by region where they were created. Yes, so I know that when you upload YouTube videos, you can say what region they come from. So maybe you can filter videos in that way, but I'm not sure. Maybe if you use Google, if you go through Google rather than going directly through YouTube, because through Google you can search for videos and you can search the region, so that might be an option. And maybe I'll start adding that information to my videos. That will, you know, I have thought about that before, but I'm not sure how many people do that. But yeah, okay. This would help us to find the accent we want to hear. It would be great for learning English. Yeah, but what would be really great for learning English is joining my school, www.speakBritishEnglish.academy, where you have courses on British English, and you can join my group classes, which, by the way, take place every Sunday. That's tomorrow at the same time as this. So same time as now, tomorrow, on Zoom, I do a class. The last few weeks, no one's shown up. But sometimes I have 2 or 3 people. It's never very busy. So if you join my course, it's only £16 a month, so it's not very expensive. And if you join the course, then as part of that package, you get to come to these group classes every week and talk face-to-face with me. So it's like a one-to-one lesson. And sometimes there's only one person who comes, so it's really like a one-to-one lesson. You know, if many people come, I'll do an hour, like I do here. But sometimes only 1 or 2 people come at the moment, and then I'll do like a half-hour lesson or something like that. Spore Drive says BBC podcasts may help with received pronunciation. Brackets UK accent. Yeah, I mean, watch British TV. Yeah, definitely that kind of thing is really good. British TV, British podcasts. Regarding received pronunciation, yes, people use this term a lot, received pronunciation. If you think about what it means, I'll just go back to my face so you can actually see me properly. So if you think about the expression received pronunciation, seeing as you mentioned it, it's a rather out-of-date term, in my opinion. Received pronunciation literally means socially acceptable pronunciation. Okay, that is what received means in this context. Okay, received in this context means socially acceptable. Accepted, that's what it means. Received means accepted. The accepted pronunciation. And that whole concept, that whole way of looking at the world is rather outdated. It's a relic of, or a vestige of an older era in British culture, which nowadays is really, it's just not the way it is anymore. But certainly there are still different accents in the UK, and there is a kind of hierarchy, and so the term received pronunciation is still quite useful to refer to good English. The English accent used by people who are considered to be well-spoken, people like me. Okay, some good examples of people who speak with what you might call a modern RP, or just who speak well. Okay, I think I don't think we need to have a special name for this. We just call it speaking well. So people who speak well would be Emma Watson. Okay, I've made several YouTube videos about Emma Watson, so watch those videos. They've only had a handful of views. No one's watching these videos for some reason, but watch my videos about Emma Watson. I think they're really good. Some other examples, well, most British actors are going to have a very good speech. So Benedict Cumberbatch, he speaks very well. Daniel Radcliffe, okay, Harry Potter, Daniel Radcliffe, he's got a voice very much like mine. It's sort of ordinary but well spoken. You know, he doesn't sound like he doesn't sound super upper class, but he speaks very well. Okay, if you want to hear real RP, then you really need to listen to much older people, because this style of pronunciation is rather out of date now. So for real RP, listen to older people like what's her name? Oh, I've forgotten her name. Well, anyway, listen to Helen Mirren. That's a good example. The actress Helen Mirren. Okay. She... Hold on a second. So Helen Mirren, I'll write that down. I can remember how to spell. No, that's wrong. I think that's how you spell her name. Helen Mirren, she has the more sort of RP, old-fashioned kind of accent. There was another actress who was a really, really good example of this, but I can't remember her name. Anyway, I'm going to have to stop there, but thank you very much for your comments and your questions and everything. So, yeah, if you want me to review your pronunciation, then please make a recording. It's not difficult nowadays. Use your phone, get your smartphone, get a voice recording app, just record something, and then share it with me, send it to me. And I can review your pronunciation. If you want me to review your grammar, then write something. It could be anything. It could just be a work email or something like that. Share that with me, and I'll go through your grammar. And you can always email me with any questions that you might have, and then I can go through those in depth in my next stream. But good day, Alanek, and yep, some people talking about Cockney accents there. Again, the Cockney again, just like RP, is a term which is a little bit out of date now. I don't think you'll find any people in London who would call themselves Cockneys, But anyway, we can talk about that next time. I have to go. Thank you very much, and I'll see you all again soon.